Sometimes in the worst of heartbreaks comes the biggest glow up possible. I think something that doesn't get talked about a lot is how lonely a glow up journey can be. Sometimes we want all these different things from all these different people because we're not giving it to ourselves first. Honestly, you teach people how to treat you at the end of the day.
I bet if I give all my love, then nothing's gonna tear us apart.
Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to another video. We are in a completely different location, girl. We are in my car. Girl, I was just running errands, I was running my cute little errands. It's the weekend, but something told me to pull over. Something's been on my mind lately, due to current events, due to, things that have happened in my past. I've shared this kind of mindset with people, and I've found that a lot of people, have gone through the same thing. So it's been on my heart. Turn on my camera, pull out my camera, and talk to you. Just have a chat. See if you've gone through the same thing. If this is your first time seeing my face, hello, my name is Jasmine. I create a lot of content on how to glow up, how to become your best self. So if that sounds like something you're into, you're focusing on you this year, as you should, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, join the family. Like this video, it affirms that 2025 is going to be your best year yet. I want to hear your opinion down below, but also comment this emoji so I know you're tapped in. So what I want to talk about today is the hard, honest truth of losing friends on your glow up journey. I feel like a friendship breakup is almost so much worse than like a romantic relationship breakup. It runs so deep, it cuts so deep in the heart, and I really value my friends in my life. Like, I truly value them, and I know there's areas that I can communicate better and be a better friend, but the friends that I have lost throughout my life hurt so badly. I bet if I really just sat here and thought about it, I'd start to cry. And I feel like when you're very tapped into your femininity, or you're working on your femininity, you're working on your glow up journey, you're working on yourself, when you lose friends, when you feel like in a perfect world, everyone is supposed to come with you, but everybody is not supposed to come with you. This dawned on me because I am moving to New York. I'm moving to New York, and I just signed a lease on like a penthouse loft. It's a beautiful place, and I'm doubling my rent. I just bought myself a new Porsche. I've upgraded, my looks. I've upgraded my spirit. I've upgraded my mindset. And, in every single stage of my glow up, inevitably I've lost somebody. Some would argue, they were jealous of you, they were secret haters, but I don't think that's always the case. I think every single situation is different, but when you start to operate on a certain frequency and another person isn't, it's bound. No, everybody's not supposed to come with you. I've had multiple friendship breakups in my life, and I don't think anybody was overtly at fault. Always come when I've been trying to better myself. I had one friendship breakup where I left law school. I called this person that I was leaving law school. They stopped talking to me like that day. I had a friendship breakup where I told the friend, like, I don't want to talk about how we hate men all the time. I don't want to talk about men all the time. I don't want to complain all the time. I don't want to have these therapy sessions. Like, I want to talk about, I want to plan trips, and I want to talk about fun things, and I want to talk about bettering ourselves, and done. And that's also my perspective on anything that's ever happened. And there's obviously deeper layers to all of those stories. And, I've been a bad friend sometimes. I've had bad friends sometimes. I've gone through friendship breakups. I've re-mended friends. I've been through it all, but it still keeps playing in my head. I'm like, why is it that whenever I decide to turn inward a little bit more, or to focus on myself a little bit more, or to make a life change for myself, is it that I always end up losing a friend? Because it's very hurtful. Friendship breakups are very, very, very hurtful. Now, there is a sentiment that friends sometimes are only for seasons. Sometimes that season is for 10 years. Sometimes that season is for 5 years. Sometimes that season is for 5 months. You could argue the same thing with romantic relationships. This whole conversation can be, redirected to romantic relationships, but it still hurts the same. It still hurts when you're trying to upgrade your life And you don't understand why people can't see that that does kind of take stepping back. That does kind of take not going out as much. That does take, you know, changing the cadence of a conversation. That does take, you know, a certain elevation of who you are. Optimistic part of me likes to think that whatever next stage God is bringing me into, whatever next part of my glow up journey, part of my elevation is supposed to be, that for some reason that person in my life would inhibit what God has planned for me. I like to think of it that way, because if I start to think I start to think of like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? You know, maybe I am changing too much. You know, who do I really think that I am? And that's such a negative route of thinking, because at the end of the day, truly, you know, it doesn't have to be absolutely, but you are kind of who you surround yourself with. And we do accept the love that we think we deserve. So if we're around friends that are, you know, making bad choices, you know, always complaining about a guy, not caring about themselves, always talking down upon ourselves, at least for me, someone that's very empathetic, that can kind of leak into who I am, and I can start adapting my frequency to that level. I personally cannot be around that, especially because I see this lifestyle for me, I see this life for me so clearly, that now I feel like in the past I used to be a people pleaser. Like I would have adapted my frequency. I feel like nowadays, you know, I'm about to be 28, very cutthroat, almost to the point of too cutthroat. That's also like another thing. Like where do you find the balance? You know, you either kind of accept this treatment and you've been friends for this amount of years, like whatever, or do you just cut off that person at this first sign of a red flag? Do you have a conversation? Do you have boundaries? These are all things I feel like in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, throughout our life that we struggle with, like adult female friendships, the boundaries that come with it. I hate those relationships where you're almost scared or nervous to tell someone about good news. I feel like there's definitely things that I've had to work on. You know, kind of the purpose of a glow up journey is understanding that there's things that you have to work on. There's things that you want to elevate in your life. There's things that you want to better in your life. Unfortunately, coming to terms with losing friends on your glow up journey is something that is such a hard pill to swallow. On the other hand of things, that while I do feel like a deep friendship takes time to develop, I have found every single time I've lost a friend, in the next year, 2 years, time doesn't matter, I've always met somebody where I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I reached this level, I met you on this level, like this works for who I am right now. I remember, you know, one time I went to New York and I met a couple content creator friends, and, you know, I sat down at dinner with them, and the conversations we were having, and, you know, the depth of things we were talking about, and the female camaraderie and the hyping up and the compliments and everything like that. I'm like, this is what I want out of a female friendship. This is what I want at this stage of my life. This is, you know, what I crave at this point of my glow up journey. And that should make you feel good. Like whenever you're losing a friend, it's hard. It hurts. It sucks. But you have to know that by you pouring into yourself, by you working on yourself, is you working on becoming a better friend for that friend that you deserve in the future, for that relationship that you deserve in the future. But it all starts with you. Sometimes in the worst of heartbreaks comes the biggest glow up possible, whether that's glowing up in personal relationships, whether that's glowing up in the gym, whether it's glowing up physically, inside, spiritually, whatever it might be. Sometimes it takes a heartbreak, it takes a rock bottom, it takes losing friends to really turn inward, to look at yourself, to see what you need to work on, to be a better person for yourself first, and then others as well. I think something that doesn't get talked about a lot is how lonely a glow up journey can be. It feels like such a singular path. It feels like, you know, you're looking at your past, you're looking at your present, and you're looking at your future, and you have such a specific perspective on it that it can be hard it can, first of all, it can be hard to be vulnerable with people that you are struggling, or, you know, that you are going to start working on yourself. Like, that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of confidence. That takes a lot of vulnerability to let people in. Still to this day, whenever I have anything big happening, it's probably like my boyfriend and my best friend. Probably like 2 people on this earth really know when things are happening. And I have no problem with that, but that should show you, you know, I've been working on myself for years now, and I still kind of get scared about sharing things with people, because I think the worst thing ever is when you are excited about something, or when you share something with someone and you don't get the reaction that you want. And it's almost a signal to my brain. It's just like, oh, you're not supposed to come with me. Like, whatever I'm about to talk about, whatever business venture, whatever next thing I'm supposed to talk about, you are not supposed to come with me. And I hate that realization when you kind of look around the room, or you look around you, and you're like, this does not serve me anymore. I mean, it's a beautiful realization, but it's also, you know, when you go down your glow up journey, unfortunately and also fortunately, there is an isolation, I feel like, with a glow up journey. You know, whether you're focused on your fitness journey, spirituality, relationships, career, finances, whatever it might be, there's a certain aspect of turning so inward and putting your head so down that texts start to slip up, phone calls don't get answered, you know, you start to recluse yourself a little bit. It's normal. It happens to the best of us. You know, I have so many moments where I start to turn inward and I respond back a week later. And, you know, luckily I have friends in my life where it's like, girl, like, we know you by now. Like, we know when you turn inward, like, you need that time to reset and to get after it, or you have something on your mind. Like, we respect that about you. But I also used to have friends, you know, where our communication styles were so different that me turning inward was almost like an attack on them, which it never was. So your glow up journey is, part of it is lonely, and that part sucks, you know? Out of that loneliness, though, needs to breed such a high level of self-respect and such a high level of self-love for yourself. If you expect a friend to show up for you, to show up at your events, to be excited for you, you need to show up for yourself. You need to be excited for yourself. You want a relationship, whether it be platonic or romantic, you want that reassurance, you want the compliments, you want those feel-good emotions for being recognized. You need to recognize yourself. You need to cheer yourself on. You need to compliment yourself. Sometimes we want all these different things from all these different people, because we're not giving it to ourselves first. We're not filling up our cup up enough first. And that is, in essence, a glow up journey. Self-love isn't always bubble baths and candles and face masks. Those are all things that make me feel feminine and good and girly. But self-love is loving yourself on the worst day, is loving the worst version of yourself, is holding that little girl's hand and be like, I understand why you feel this way. It's okay. Let me see if I can help. That is what your glow up journey is. That is what your self-love journey is. And it's going to take some turning inward. But when you turn inward, and when you're complimenting yourself, when you are affirming yourself, when you are showing up to the gym, when you are doing your daily devotional and connecting more with God, when you are truly showing up for yourself how you want other people to show up for you in friendships, in romantic relationships, whether family, that's when you are going to start attracting the people that deserve to be in your life. Honestly, you teach people how to treat you at the end of the day. I fully believe if I was single right now, I feel like I emit such an energy, such a confidence, such a femininity, such a certain aura about me that I feel like no man, like, you can feel the energy I have. No man could ever step to me if you don't have it in order. I would hope that any female friendship that generally wants to have a friendship with me, you would know what kind of time I'm on. You know I want to talk about glowing up and becoming your better selves. You know I want to go to Pilates. You know I don't want to talk about boys all day. You know I want to travel and have adventures. Like, I am what I attract. And you know, we are humans. You know, we crave interaction with other people. So, you know, don't feel bad when you feel these feelings that, you know, you feel like people are judging you on your glow up journey. People think that you're all that, or why is she changing? Like, oh, like, she's doing this, she's doing that. Like, you have to ignore all of it. You have to ignore all of it. It hurts. It hurts at the time, and it feels like, what do you know about it, you know? That's when that self-love and that affirmations turns inward, because you've got to know that when you reach a certain level in your glow up journey, you're going to run into a woman in Pilates. You're going to run into a woman at that really nice cafe. You're going to run into a friend or a partner when you start placing yourselves in areas of abundance, because you too have given yourself the self-respect and the self-love to even place yourself there. I would highly recommend on your glow up journey, you know, whether you make a list platonically or make a list romantically, sitting down and describing a perfect person for you. You know, do they think about the little things? You know, are they funny? Are they really attractive? Are they very in shape? Do they smell good? Are they God-fearing? What type of music do they like? What do they do for fun? What do their friends look like? What kind of car do they drive? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat their family? What does their lifestyle look like? Where do they live? And I want you to take that list and I want you to focus on those things for yourself. So if you want someone that lives an active lifestyle and they look good, girl, you have to do that for yourself. If you want someone that is God-fearing, that keeps you on the right track with God, you have to do that for yourself. If you want someone to reassure you and compliment you and make you feel pretty, you have to do that for yourself. And if you want someone to take you out, nice dinners, a nice vacation, girl, you need to book that solo trip for yourself. One of the things that I've always struggled with my entire life is having a friend group. I've always wanted to have that like girlfriend group. I was walking my dog the other day, and we have like a courtyard in my apartment building. And I took him to the courtyard, and it was, I don't know, like 9 p.m. at night. And one of my neighbors, a couple flights up, like I'm in the courtyard, they had their doors open and they were having like a karaoke party with, I'm assuming, all of her like girlfriends. And it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 girls in there, and they were just like singing and they were having fun. Like they sounded young, you know, early 20s and stuff like that. And I was envious. I was like, I've only had a friend group in my life one time in my life. It was in college. It was for, you know, freshman to junior year. Before college, that was my first friend group. I've always been the girl that was cool with a lot of different people, but kept it very surface level. I would have maybe 1 or 2 like best friends, but that best friend was always in a different friend group that I wasn't, you know, as cool with. I always felt like I was on the outskirts, or I never felt like I didn't fit in. I almost felt like I fit in with a lot of different people, that I wasn't entrenched in one group. And you know, when I got my girlfriend group at Spelman, I felt so good. I felt so like going to parties, going to functions, traveling together. Like that was always my dream. So when I lost that friend group, you know, it kind of went back to how I've always been, you know, elementary, high school. I've never had a friend group. And, you know, especially as you get older as an adult, sometimes it feels like if you don't maintain that college friend group, it can be hard to make friends as an adult. Like I love those girlfriend groups that are like 20s, 30s, 40s, still friends. I'm like, I'm so like, wow, like what it would mean to be like that. But I've never been like that. And it's always not confused me, but I've always been like, why can't I ever have a friend group? Like, what is it with me? Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm friends with a lot of different people, but not the same people in the same group. And honestly, it's used to make me very, very self-conscious, especially being an only child as well, someone that like doesn't have siblings. I've grown very comfortable with it over the years, and I've accepted the fact. I used to be really hard on myself, but I've accepted the fact that I'm just one of those people that can get along with a lot of different people, and me not having a friend group isn't the worst of my worries. On a Wednesday, I can call up this person and I know they respect me enough and they vibe with me enough, and I can go with that person. You know, sometimes I can bring 2 people together, but you know, sometimes I feel like I'm missing that kind of, you know, friend group at this stage right now. And I think part of it is, you know, the only child thing. Like, I'm perfectly fine being on my own, almost to a fault. I think another part of it is that sometimes I have friendship PTSD, that I do feel like when I start to elevate my life in some aspect, or good things happen to me, people tend to go away, or I get a certain energy. So I don't even allow myself to get close to people like that. Glowing up and focusing on yourself can be a very lonely road sometimes. And not in a bad way, but I've almost always been alone. You know, it wouldn't seem like that. And I think that's why I love social media so much. It gives me a chance to connect with y'all. And, you know, y'all are my friends. And I feel like this is a friend group. And I feel like this is a community at the end of the day. But, you know, I've really accepted that I am just one of those people that are friends with a whole bunch of different people, but not the same group. And I've come to terms with that, because the friends that I do involve myself with now are on my level. Conversations are good. We're focused on the same things. We want to better each other. We hear that you're interested in this. Oh, I know this person. Let me connect you with this person. Like, I like this stage that I'm in right now. I'm really excited to go to New York. I have a lot more friends there. I am also excited too that I do recognize that, it's like I said, I tend to turn inward a lot. I do want to work on that a little bit. I do want to join a grad chapter. You know, I do want to join hobbies and things like that. To me, you know, I know a whole bunch of individual people, but I would love a sense of an in-person community type of aspect, especially like when you work for yourself and you're an entrepreneur. Like, you kind of miss that community aspect of it. And I think that's like I said before, we're humans at the end of the day. We crave interaction. Interaction is fine. Sometimes you just need to create that community on your own. That's what's been on my mind lately. Such an interesting notion, losing people when you're trying to better yourself. I think overall, everything's about intentionality. Everything's about communication. Everything is about self-respect and loving yourself and being a friend to yourself first. And I think that's what your glow up journey is at the end of the day, is being a friend to you, showing up for you, complimenting you, doing little things for you, filling up your cup, giving yourself opportunities, showing yourself new places. I think that is what your glow up journey is about. And, you know, losing friends sucks. Making friends when you're in your higher self or your dream life is even better. Let me know if you like this different style of a girl chat. Let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. You know, the New Year's is coming up. I'm so excited for this next chapter. We're moving to New York. We're bringing the car. We have the boyfriend. We have the dog. We have the dream job. Like, everything is connecting, and I've worked really, really hard to get to this moment right now. I think, you know, I want to attract more female friendships into my life. I want to, you know, create and bring people in now that I feel like I've worked on myself enough these past 3-4 years. I'm excited about 2025. And I know 2025 is going to be amazing for you too. So let me know your thoughts down below. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Like this video, affirm that 2025 is going to be your best year yet. And we'll see you in the new year, girl. Bye.
I bet if I give all my love, then nothing's gonna tear us apart.